My name is Dr. Samson Simon, and I'm here to talk about the 2022 Appropriation Act as assented to by Mr. President on Friday, 31st December 2021. The budget total is 17.126 trillion, and it was actually increased by National Assembly. It was presented to them by Mr. President in October at 16.391, but they increased it by more than 700 billion. And the major assumptions of this budget are that oil price is set. It was originally set by Mr. President at $57 per barrel. National Assembly increased it to 62. I think it's not wise to set it that high. I think one should be conservative in setting the price of oil as it is really volatile, and the U.S. Energy Information Agency said oil price will average $60 per barrel in 2022. So by setting it higher than what is projected to be, I don't think is really good. It doesn't augur well. And for the amount of barrels of oil that we produce on a daily basis, because of the OPEC limitation ceiling, the maximum we can produce is 2 million. Unfortunately, the best we have been producing so far, is in the region of 1.88 million barrels per day, including condensates of between 300,000 to 400,000. That is really tenable. Unless if there is an uprising in the Niger Delta, which will likely disrupt oil production. Is very unlikely as of now. We don't know how things will pan out within the year. For exchange rate of 410, I think that is not tenable, because even before the budget will take off, central bank is already devaluing the naira, and Fitch has projected that even if our foreign reserves balloon, the naira will continue to depreciate and will get devalued, more especially when you're trying to have a convergence, because the IMF is insisting that there should be no difference between the official exchange rate and the parallel market exchange rate, as having this bifurcation distorts the market. So the CBN is striving to bring the two rates to be the same, and 410 is likely going to be the price in this year. And for inflation at 13%, I think that one also may not be tenable, because of recent, Nigeria has been experiencing inflationary pressures from all directions, and is unlikely going to let off in this current fiscal year. And for growth rate, it remains to be seen, as there are many uncertainties on the horizon, like the Omicron variant, and we don't know what else may come up within the year. So that may distort or may reduce the growth. That possibility is there. Then for spending, for outlay, the budget is divided broadly into four categories of outlays. The one that has a large lion's share is non-debt recurrent expenditure at 6.91 trillion. 6.991 trillion, which is for non-debt recurrent expenditure. Then the next one is capital expenditure at 5.49. And the third one is going to be debt service and sinking fund at 3.88. And then the last and not the least is statutory transfers at less than 1 trillion. The four of them add up to 17.126 or 127 trillion for our budget. Then how do they intend to generate revenue? How do they intend? They are projecting over 10 trillion naira in revenue. How do they intend to generate this revenue? The federal government share of federation revenues is in the region of 5.53 trillion. And then government-owned enterprises, their surpluses, operating surpluses, is supposed to be in the region of 1.79 trillion. And the independent revenues at 2.22, though the president was beyond livid because he projected 1.82, National Assembly increased it by 400 billion without justification. So it remains to be seen. And then grants and aids at the measly 63 billion, and then dividends, 195 billion. And then other sources at 300 billion. So all these things add up to more than 10 trillion. The deficit is expected to be funded basically by borrowings either bilateral or multilateral. And another thing, another way of funding it is by selling assets, government assets, to cover the deficits. The president called this budget of economic growth and sustainability, and he was touting it as the budget that is gender sensitive. It tends to empower women and intends to carry everybody along, which is a good thing. So I really need to commend the fiscal authority and the president and the National Assembly for maintaining the January 1st to December 31st budget cycle for a while now. This is a good thing because it ensures certainty. It's really good for planning, and it gives confidence to consumers. But our reliance on oil is not really good because oil revenue still generates a large chunk of our revenue, and oil cannot be counted upon. I think the government needs to diversify. I know I've been saying diversify, and we have not done it. We have been paying lip service to it. So we need to take it seriously now. And it's really an anomaly for you to divide your revenues into oil and non-oil. The global best practice is you divide them into taxes and non-taxes. I know the government is trying to work on that to increase our revenue to GDP from 8 to maybe 15% in the next 2 or 3 years. But the chances are really slim. We should try, which is a good thing, but it may not give us what we're looking for. So we have to look for other ways of augmenting government revenue. And the deficit is more than 3% of GDP, which is against the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Though it has been amended with the recent Finance Act 2021 so that they can go beyond that. And I think even though the president and the fiscal authority, as well as the fiscal authority, has been trumpeting that a problem is not debt but revenue, but I beg to differ. I think we have both debt and revenue problem. And the way they are going, they are trying to make debt a problem as well. And I think a recent report by one of these big agencies said that we are underestimating our debt because our debt is more than 50% of our GDP. But officially, government will be telling you that it's maybe 30% or 40%. It's way higher. If you factor in monetary financing, the ways and means from the Central Bank of Nigeria. So this is likely going to be what will happen tomorrow. I look forward to having you on Radio Nigeria by 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning. Thank you.